Tristan Thomas out here at Delax once again. It's kind of a biannual segment at this point, chatting with the champs, featuring Brynn Hanson. Now we're talking about the state track meet, just wrapped up to end up spring sports, and you defended titles in the 800 and the 3200. We'll talk about the 1600, of course, but I mean, those first two events of being, you know, the state champion and defending those, what all went into that this year, and what all worked well for you at that meet?
I think I was just especially nervous again, and that was like the big thing I was just gonna try to work on, is like changing my mindset to like, I want to do well and I want to win, but also like it's not the end of the world if I don't happen. Like if it doesn't happen, if I have a bad day, like that's like, it's a very real possibility, and I think I just need to be more confident with myself and understanding that like I'm human and whatever happens, I just want to do my best. So
yeah, and just talking strategy, I guess, in the 800 and the 3200, what were your thoughts going into that, and kind of how did that play out?
Well, for the 3200, I knew I was just going to have to stick right there, and it was going to be a tough race. I know that she had laid down some good times. Madison Johnson was like the main competition this year, and she's really put in a lot of work, and she's come a long way, and she pushed me way farther than I've ever pushed myself. So got a couple PRs, and in all my events I PR'd and everything over the weekend, so that was really awesome to see. But then I just sat there, and I hate like sit and kick, but I knew that's what I was gonna have to do, because I wasn't gonna go out there and lead it, especially with like the times I had laid down this season. I knew that I was gonna have to be right there in striking distance, or else I wasn't gonna be able to defend the title in that race. So.
Yeah, and you beat her in those two events, but in the 1600, she just barely beat you. What was it like going back and forth with her, and have you gotten to talk to her and got to know her a little bit? I mean, what's that whole that relationship been like?
I think it's really good. Like, we don't ever race against each other except for at state, so that made me a little nervous, just not getting to experience that competition a little bit. But like compared to other sports, we're not as like mean to each other. Like, I guess it's not as big of a rival. Like, you want everyone to do good. You're cheering everybody on, and I PR'd. I mean, she ran a great time too, and we both pushed ourselves very far. So that's good to see.
And looking at just the state track meet in general, it seemed like a really competitive meet when you look at the 3 days. Is that something you saw as just top times and continuing to be, you know, more and more top athletes and competitive athletes in this state?
Mm-hmm. I was the only 1600, maybe I was only 800 runner too, who had to do the 400 right before. And it was only like 20 minutes, because that was the day the weather was bad and they were just rolling. They weren't having it spaced out with time. So for me, that really didn't help. And for the first two laps of the 1600, I was like trying to still breathe after the 400 and just like get back into it. So just trying to stick there again and make sure I can be there within the last 200. And that race, I just didn't like quite kick fast enough, and I was very just dead, I guess, because that 400 really takes a lot out of you.
Yeah, and we talked about the cross country championship getting moved in the fall, and kind of how did you experience the schedule getting moved around, the dates getting, or the times getting pushed back at this year's state meet? I mean, what was that like, and did that affect you in any other ways that you haven't mentioned?
No, I think just maybe I don't remember it that great from last year, but the 400 before didn't seem as hefty as it did this year. Like before the 800, I was like, I don't think I ate anything that much that day, which probably didn't help me, but I was like bent over trying to like not feel so terrible, because I did not feel good after my 400 before the 800 on the last day. So I think just maybe that took a lot out of like me that I didn't feel like it did, just having the weird times and having to prepare that way. I think it did take a little bit more out of me than it has in past years.
Yeah, and wrapping up the spring season, you've already had a bit of an eventful summer, getting to go out to Boston for some hockey. What for people who don't know, what all were you doing out there, and what all did you get to do while you're out on the East Coast?
That was my first time out there, so it was super fun, but just a tournament with a team I've never played with before, which sometimes make it more difficult, but it can also make it super fun. So it was a good time, and got to go see some fun things with my mom.
What was the favorite thing you saw? I'm sure you got to check out one or two landmarks.
We didn't really get to see anything. My mom wanted to take like a trolley tour and go see like a bunch of different stuff, but we didn't get to that. We went past like all the universities there, and we went and saw Fenway Park, like just outside of it.
Yeah, and then were there people's accents? Was that, you hear about the Boston accent?
Yes.
Were people talking like that?
Yes, they were. I like would ask people. I probably got some weird looks, but like, do you hear my voice like sounds funny? But they didn't seem to notice. So
Yeah, I noticed it a little bit with the way people say "mine not" versus "mine it," things like that. Just little differences, you know.
for like, especially like for them, I could hear an accent, but I asked them like, does my voice sound funny? And they were like, well, not really. But I was like, well, then do you hear your accent? And they're like, no. So I don't know.
All right, Brynn. Well, yeah, thank you again for the time, and best of luck with all that's to come in cross country, track, and hockey.
Thank you.